have to point it out. I can't tell.
It's on.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, but yeah, it's still a screen for him.
We're only like 3 months into this, and we still can't work out the kinks. Thanks, Olivia.
Gotcha.
Well, once again, welcome everybody to our Tuesday night discussion. We're still working on that. We got a week left for that contest. Send us your ideas, and if we like one of them, we will pick it, and that'll be the name of our show. And for winning the contest, we're going to bring you on and have you hang out with us for one night. You can ask questions, and maybe we can get a special guest that night too. We can have fun. With me, as always, Olivia, and our first guest of the year, and our special guest. Well, our first guest was unable to show, so this is our first guest of the year.
Okay.
Thank you for being here, Araina Danielle. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you coming out tonight. Rob's already on. Mike told me to get a better haircut. And hi, Sandra. So we're...
Mike already talked about the hair?
Yes, he did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you just get the haircut or something?
No.
My son's a barber.
I'm
happy to give you.
I really have a barber. Thanks, Mike.
A little bit of a discount.
Thanks, Mike. But yes, no, I have a barber.
I think your hair's fine.
I just haven't gotten a haircut in a couple weeks, Mike. Get off me. So like always, we're glad that she's here tonight. We're going to ask her some questions. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll try to get through them and get which ones I can done. We're not going to expect you to answer any kind of direct questions from people.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's going to be really hard to do, so we're not doing that. But if you have any general questions, that'll work, and if I can get them, I will. So, Olivia, did you have anything you would like to start with, Mary? What would you like to do? You were excited. I'm just throwing it out there.
Don't you got all your
I have questions,
wrapped
too.
up
I just
in
thought
your
maybe you did, too. See,
brain?
I give her the opportunity, folks. I try.
Yeah, but you do it in the wrong way.
I know. I like to have fun.
So, how about you?
I guess the simple thing is how long have you been doing it professionally?
Okay, so what year are we? 2024. I say the beginning of when did the pandemic hit?
2020.
Okay, so the beginning of the pandemic is when everything started professionally. About 3 or 4 years.
Okay. And how long have you? And again, if I don't use the right verbiage, I don't mean not to. And if I use it in the wrong places, please correct me. How old were you when you realized that you had like what you called like the gift?
Come on,
Is
that's
that
my age.
No, I didn't ask how old you were.
No, because I didn't have this when I was younger.
Okay, so it's not something you remember.
So, but let me go back because let me clarify. Everybody's born with disability. Some of us are open to it as children, and it follows us through life. And then sometimes we become adults and we shut that off. So everyone's born with it. Now, I opened up in a tattoo shop. When I say opened up, that means I saw my first spirit in a tattoo shop. And so that's when I realized that something was going on. So I'm not going to tell you how old I am. But, yeah.
Now, I did notice that one of the things that I did talk about, I think we actually talked about it on one of our shows a couple weeks ago, was obviously we've worked with psychics before. The one that we used to work with was good too. And I mean this in the nicest way. She was older, so she's obviously doing it a long time. And if I remember correctly, she's for as long as she can remember. She's had it. And it just, if I do remember, it took her a little while to learn how to basically turn it off. You know what I mean? At a young age, you probably don't really know. You know, like, you don't know how I stop this from happening right now.
Yeah.
It only happened when I wanted it.
Yeah.
But I noticed when she would work with us, and like when you worked with us in the library, you guys did have different styles. So the way you did it with us, and I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, but generally, when we worked with the other psychics, she kind of just pointed and kind of said, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that, you know, we should go here, we should go here. Where you actually were, you know, you were writing stuff down, you were able to, which I actually thought was really cool, because it gave us the opportunity to go back and reference it. And if we wanted to maybe look into more details as far as, oh, does this name make sense for this person who used to live there, for example, or maybe a former person, actually it was a house, so that would make sense. So I just thought that was kind of cool. Have you always done it that way, or is that something that you kind of just decided, hey, this works better for me?
So I've never done it that way. And when I got into the library, I felt like I needed to write. And so when we feel like we need to write, that's like spirit pushing on you saying, okay, you need to write this down because it's going to be a whole lot of information. I never have written stuff down like that before.
Oh.
So that was really the first time. And
I liked it.
yeah, I didn't want to forget, but it was more of like being pushed to do that.
And that being said, too, I mean, truth be told, it was your first time working with us, too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nice to, I guess, be able to bounce ideas off each other. So it's like, okay, yes, this is how we do it. I know we talked a little bit that night beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And really I really did like the way you did it. And I'm not saying you have to do it all the time. But it was helpful. It really was. Because I remember Mike, at one point, a couple days after we investigated, called me and asked me, hey, do you remember one of the names? I think I even texted you about the name Bob.
I did some research, too.
And I said, I remember I literally said to Mike, I know she wrote it down. I know she wrote it down. So let me try to get a hold of her and figure it out. So definitely worked out great for us. Again, we're going to look forward to working with you more.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love doing
it. Was just a lot of fun. Do you have anything now, maybe?
Oh my gosh.
Well, you have experience
I feel like I'm supposed to, like, what's your favorite color?
Okay,
oh, mine too.
Really?
Other than my experience with psychics and stuff like that is obviously just with the group. I think you've actually gone to
Yeah.
before. So
Yeah.
what's your thought process, I guess? I've never gone to one outside of the group.
It's tough. I will say when I go to random people that I don't know, I am a little guarded to start until they give me that push. Like, they give me something that I can cling to, and it's like, oh, okay, you might know what you're talking about. So then I'll open up. I will say, I don't think that I've ever had a bad experience. Like, I am one of those people that will sit and watch the general tarot readings on YouTube.
I've done that before.
All the time.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Like, if I'm going through, like, I call them my midlife crises, even though I'm only 23, every time, and I have one once a week. So,
let me ask you, why did you feel guarded when you first went to those psychics?
I don't want to say that I didn't trust them necessarily. I just feel like I was going in with intention of I needed to hear one specific thing, because when I booked my first reading, I was going through something super emotional. I was super lost, and I needed guidance, but I didn't want to tell her that.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in with expectations that I shouldn't have had, because the reading ended up being something completely different. I wasn't looking for it, but I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely changed my perspective on it. But at first,
I love that, because a lot of clients come to me and I ask for no information.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to know what they want to focus on. So I don't want to spend the 30 minutes that you have with me giving you a reading that you don't need.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone says, I just want to focus on relationships, okay, you got it. And so we just start from there. Or I want to focus on family, we focus on that. But it's so important to not have expectations, because, like I was telling him, we're human. And so I've had people say, well, I need you to give me this one thing from them. If the spirit doesn't want us to tell you that, like, they're not going to. And that's like also putting us in this, like, on the line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we get in our heads and we're like, oh God, now I got to figure out what this is. And now we're in our own way. And so when I teach mediumship, it's like, if you start to get in your own way, you have broken your link with the spirit world, and that's it. You might as well stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so important that the person that comes in is like, okay, I would love to hear from a certain person, but if they don't come through, that's fine as well. And that will ease the energy in the room right there. So.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we, maybe not, I don't think we've really had this problem, and I should say problem, issue, since you've been with us. But I know in the past, Mike and I kind of ran into the similar thing. And by that I mean, they call us out to their home. They think there's something there. And we feel like, okay, we have a responsibility, obviously, to go there and do the best we can with whatever information we have. And truth be told, we've gone to places that the owners wanted there to be something
Yeah, of course.
Not necessarily there's something there. You know, and sometimes they expect us to go there, and I know it's my son, for example. I know that sounds terrible, bad example, but they believe that it's something or a person that they want us to prove,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, well, we can't promise you that.
And
you know
then
what I mean?
when it's not that, they're disappointed.
Yeah, and that's a big thing that when we sit down, we do walkthroughs, and we sit with the client prior to even doing the investigation. We try to limit who knows what.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you don't want to contaminate yourself. You don't want to go into that place already overthinking it. But at the same time, we want some information. But we have to be honest with people, and we have to tell them, I can't guarantee you that it's your father, it's your aunt, it's your uncle, it's whatever. And I think sometimes they do get a little, upset. But on the flip side, we've gone to a place. I won't give out the name of the location, but it was a place in Fort Byron, and we were fully expecting there to be one or two spirits there that we knew were there, and we ended up coming back at the end with a totally different spirit that we didn't know was there.
Mm-hmm.
And when we could bring that to the client and say, this is who we actually found, this person is here. And she was, I think she was sad, but excited and happy at the same time.
Yeah.
Because that person meant more to her. It was an actual relative, and not the guy who was there before her. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool that we were able to do that. But at the same time, I don't say I hate. It's hard, very hard, when people expect you to do something.
Yeah.
And actually, I was going to ask you, do you ever find it hard when? That was my next question. When people basically say, I want to talk to my dad.
100%.
Or I want to talk to my mom.
No. So, and when you were discussing this earlier with me, if a spirit doesn't come through, so the way that I see it, and I've never had a spirit not show up, spirit world is always here, like they're an arm's length away, and so it's the medium that is not bringing them through. The medium is the problem, so it's a three-way connection. It's me, the spirit world, and the sitter. And so if I'm not able to bring that person through, then I am not connecting with their loved one the right way. Because they're there, I'm just not able to connect the right way. And so, yeah, I've had people say, I want to talk to this person. Sometimes I say, who do you want to talk to? Just tell me the name, and we'll bring them through. Let's not waste time. So, yeah, I've had that happen. But I like the people who come in and know exactly who they need to speak with, and that's who we talk to. And then other people show up.
So, have you ever had somebody get mad at you?
For what?
Like anything. Like, I'll give you an example for us. We went and did a home, came back, did not find any evidence. Said, listen, we can't find anything. We're not telling you that it's not haunted, but we're telling you from where we stand. We have no evidence, no proof, no nothing. As far as we're concerned, it's not haunted. Well, I know it's haunted. You got it. Blah 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 blah. They literally kicked us out. When I say we've been thrown out before, I mean it.
Wow.
That's why we don't charge for what we do. I have no reason to lie to you.
How do you handle that?
I just say thanks for wasting my time. No. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, our job is to determine whether is to disprove it. That is our job.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go in there and I prove that it's not, I did my job. If I go in there and I prove that there is something here, great. That means I can help the person, and I'll take the loss. I don't care about that. But that's why we don't charge for anything we do, is because I'm not going to lie to you. So I could just picture somebody coming to you and saying, I want to talk to whoever. And you, okay, cool. I got that person. This is what they said. No. Like, you've ever had...
So I've never had anyone get mad at me, but I've had people say, they wouldn't say that. Well, I'm telling you they say that. Okay? So, so I've had people say, well, I don't know, that doesn't sound something they would say. Remember, okay, they are not living anymore, right? They are on the other side, and they don't have to worry about what they're saying, what's coming through. All of those misconceptions and worries about how that person's going to take what I'm saying, that's gone. So you'll get spirits that they say things that they couldn't say when they were alive. So they'll bring through things, and I'll give them, and they'll go, okay, I understand it, but I don't think they would say it like that. Well, that's what I'm giving you. I stand on what I bring through. I'm confident in it. I know the spirit world doesn't let me down, so I never ever back down and say, well, maybe I was wrong. No.
Do you... Well, you actually did do this earlier tonight. We sat down. I was honest to God, I was going to ask you this question, because I'm sure you watched some of those TV shows. And I'll use the example of Long Island Medium.
No.
I don't really care for her.
like that.
I'm sorry if any of our viewers do. I just don't care for her. But,
Why am I always the oddball out? That's like, oh, I kind of.
But okay,
I have my views on.
I was gonna ask, do you ever find yourself in a place and you see something or you feel something and you want to go tell that person? And you kind of already answered that because she was only here for like 5 minutes and then sat down and said there was somebody with me.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
She already kind of answered that for me. But if you could maybe give an example of how you've done that, or
I have so many. First, let me say, I don't think it's.
I'm not going to say this person's name because I'm going to ruin it. But they said hi.
Okay, hi.
I don't know if you know that person. There must be your friend.
Okay. Oh yeah, I shared it to my page. Okay, yes.
Sorry, I just didn't want to butcher your name. I'm sorry, but they said hi.
Hi. I forgot what the question was. Short-term memory.
Do you ever just get random? I guess. So
random readings are not ethically appropriate. I don't think you should just randomly walk up to people and give them readings. There's a way to do things. So I will give an example. I had to go get an MRI because I have excruciating migraines, and it's not the funnest thing in the world. I had never had it done before. So I went into the location, and the nurse was lovely. She starts getting me ready. I change my clothes. I get into the machine. And when I get nervous, I start to get sleepy. I know that sounds weird, but I get sleepy. So I'm laying in this machine, and I can hear someone say, hello. And like, this is the very beginning of my mediumship, okay? And I'm still figuring out if I'm losing my mind or if I'm really hearing things. And I said, well, who's here? And she gives me all this information, and I said, well, who do you belong to? And so she points to the lady behind the glass, which would be the nurse that brought me in. And I'm like, I don't know how to give a message. I've never done this before. So I said, if you're still here when I come out of the machine, I'm making a very long story short. If you're still here when I come out of the machine, say something to me, and, I'll give the message. So the lady pulls me out, the nurse pulls me out, and she's talking to me. And as she's speaking to me, she's now mumbling because I can hear the spirit talking to me over here. And she says, well, you told me to come back in. And I'm like, oh, my goodness. I'm trying to listen to the nurse, and she says, go get dressed. I come out, and she goes, I really need you to just let her know. So I stood there, and I said, it's going to sound crazy, and if you don't want to hear it, please let me know. I said, do you know what a medium is? So I asked her, and she says, yeah. I said, well, I have to ask you if you know somebody who would have lived in California and is a great aunt to you, and her name is, And she goes, yeah. And I said, okay. So I gave her that message. So that's an appropriate way to do it, but to walk up to somebody and just randomly give them a message is not okay.
I think that's one of the reasons why I don't like not to me, I just didn't like the show. I just, I don't know.
Well, it's also very, I've heard a lot of controversy, but it's also very cut. Like they have to be cut, There's a lot of no's before you get a yes.
It's a TV show.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day, it's a show, and they got to make me. We've got experience with that. Any other? Right? You have to have more. I mean, you were all excited.
I feel like, I don't know, a lot of my stuff is more like my own personal views, like how I see it. So I feel like I should be more open, like for like everybody else. But I think one of my biggest things is, how do you view it when it comes to religion?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Really?
Yes, I did. I did. I knew that. I'm sitting here like I know she's going to ask me about this right now. So this is something that I struggle with because I am not religious, but I am a Christian and I believe in Jesus, and that is the first and foremost thing. And when you put those two things together, they don't always go together, hard. Right? It's just something that
I'm sorry, this is like
with.
An internal thing for me that I've been battling, and like I'm actually in the process of getting baptized.
I just got baptized.
So, I'm in the process of it, and I was sitting back and thinking, I struggle with my faith a lot because I believe in God. I put my faith in God. Everything comes down to how God wants my life to be. But I also know that there's more there, and I want to sink my claws in there, but I fight myself on it.
We need to have a conversation outside of this because I understand what you mean, because this is something that I battle with as a medium, because in the Bible, the mediums are, and so what I have to go with is Jesus was the greatest medium that ever lived. And people of all religions come to me. Okay, so I've had Catholics, I can't even tell you how many. And they are looking for healing.
Mm-hmm.
They are looking to know that there's life after this. And that is all my job is, to serve spirit. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's an internal battle for me as well, because I never want to do anything to upset God,
Mm-hmm.
And I think they struggle with that too. So they'll come in, and I'll start to bring through faith in a reading for somebody, and they immediately feel like, they know that's okay. So I get it. We definitely can have a conversation.
But,
Okay.
And I don't mean this to. I don't want to sound.
Judgmental?
No, because I agree.
Insensitive?
No. It's going to sound really weird, but
Left out?
do you think that sometimes you are, and I think sometimes we do it as well. Again, what we do is different, but it's kind of the same. We use technology where you are your technology, essentially. But do you think that sometimes I don't necessarily believe that you're going to make God mad in any way. If anything, I think you're almost, in a roundabout way, kind of doing his thing. I mean,
you're right.
There's no different to what you do than to what he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not. Granted, yes, you're not going out there and preaching this and saying follow him,
Mm-hmm.
but you are going out there and relaying messages.
Yeah.
You are going out there and helping people, whether it's healing. Some would argue if you can help somebody heal emotionally is more than helping somebody heal physically. So to me, it's not like you're doing anything wrong.
So here, and I'm agreeing with you, because that is, God always shows up in a reading. Literally did not know you were going to say any of that stuff, and he showed up again, right? Because I need the validation constantly that I'm okay, you know what I mean? I think when I say I worry I'm going to make God mad is because of the Bible and what's in the Bible and how it was written, years ago. And the Bible's very coded, and there's things in there we don't understand, and people wrote things in there to keep the world the way it was at the time.
Yep.
And so we have to kind of decipher, we can't follow everything to the T, right?
No, and 100%. And it was also it was interpretive. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's very close to my heart. I love the Bible, but that's something that I'm like, okay, do I stop doing mediumship? What do I do? So when I bring through the spirit world, I always pray beforehand. I always ask God to be with me. And I literally, this is just as of lately, I will bring this into every single reading. Every single reading, I want you to know this is what I believe. And they're like, okay, that's totally fine. And that relaxes the atmosphere. And if I know that I'm showing that God is so amazing, that he is allowed, the spirit world is here, and we're not just one-dimensional, that we exist outside of these bodies, I want people to know that.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to know that. I hope that answered your question.
It did. Absolutely. More than I wanted.
No, that's, we did, Tammy asked, I'm not sure how much of the TV shows you watch. She said, do you like the Uber driver medium?
I love him.
Yes. I think he is great, very professional when he talks to people.
Yes, he is one of the most genuine mediums on TV right now. Okay, I love him, and it is escaping me. What's his name? Oh my goodness. Matt Frazier. Those are the only two.
Matt Frazier.
Those are the only two that I think are real.
I watch him on TikTok.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, I did like the one show, and I don't know the name of it. I think it was called like Celebrity Ghost, Celebrity Sidekick.
So here's
it was a lady, and the whole show was taking celebrities back to their homes that they were lived in that was haunted, and basically retelling their stories without them telling it. Granted, yes, it was a TV show, and I get it,
yeah.
So
but I did like the concept.
Yeah,
I thought the concept was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was me.
Yes, I love him. I love the way he delivers his messages. He's very kind with them. He doesn't just blurt out stuff to people. Mm-hmm. And I like that he shows that he's doing something while he's reading for somebody. So many times I've had to give readings with my baby on my lap, okay? Because that's just the way it's happening. Mm-hmm. And I love that he's showing that he's still a person. He's still doing this. And he can still bring through your levels because they are right there. They are that close.
So we've been called, well, I can't say we by clients, but I can't tell you when when I first started doing this years ago, I just started a career in law enforcement, and I did it up until a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. So then I resigned from there, and now I don't work there anymore. Mm-hmm. But granted, I love the guys I worked with. They didn't always like what I did, that I did ghost hunting. They always like to joke about it, and yes, it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
But yes, I've also had people come and basically say, "Oh, you guys are full of it. You guys fake it. Whatever you want to call it." I've heard it all. I don't care anymore at this point. I mean, I've been doing it for 15 years. We have clients, we have friends, we have followers. Obviously, they know we're not, so we do that. How do you deal, or have you ever had anybody say that? And if you had, how do you deal with it?
So I've never had anyone say it to my face, but online, yes.
Keyboard warriors.
It doesn't bother. It doesn't bother me like it should, because people are going to have their opinions. I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. And I've had actually people come in and sit in the chair in my office and do this. And I'm like, oh, great. I already know,
At least the same people that are paying you?
Yes.
That makes sense.
And then I will give out one piece of information and they completely crack. Right?
Yeah,
So that's what they needed to get over that. But I think it's a protective thing. Like, if I don't let her into my space and I don't, get her,
I mean, unless you were dragged there by your significant other, you did not want to be there. But if you're paying for a service, that's like going to the dentist and saying, "No, you're not touching my teeth."
Well, I
take
feel
my
like
money.
they want to believe.
Yeah.
They're looking for something, but they don't know how.
They don't know how. Yeah, that's it. And they're worried that if they do, then what's next? Like, then everything that they've believed all of these years is now different. Right? Their life is different.
I mean, I tell you right now, I've had several. I can't remember if you were with me at the time, but I always joked around, and there was like a running joke in our group for the past 10 years probably of somebody's oh shit moment. I want to be there when so and so has their oh shit moment, and I was lucky enough to be with a bunch of guys when they had their first experience, whether it's seeing something, hearing something, or because I love it when people come into the group and they're skeptic, they don't believe it. That's great. I'd rather have you come in not believing, so that way you can kind of come in there and be like, oh, okay, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. You're always looking for that rational. Then have somebody who comes in and says, oh my God, it's a ghost. Because you don't want that.
Yeah.
It just makes it more fun. But to be there with that person, and I don't think I was with you. I think you might have. I'm not even really sure where you had. When you had your first experience or oh shit moment.
Mine was
Rob.
the Wayne County Jailhouse.
Rob was a member of our group for a few years, and he just wrote "yup" because Rob's been there. Rob knows what it's like when you have your first oh moment. But to me, that was a great thing to have somebody who's skeptic, or not really skeptic, but maybe they just never had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, it's very much like your whole beliefs, your whole world. I don't want to say world, but everything does change. It does, because you go one day, you're like, I kind of, again, I know this is kind of a generic overview, but if you do believe in God, and you believe in heaven and hell, then a lot of people believe that's it.
Yeah.
When you die, you go to one or you go to the other one. If you don't really, I know people that don't believe in hell at all. That's fine. Whatever you believe in. But to have somebody there and have a person walk by, or a knock, or a voice that wait a minute, that wasn't, how is that? To them, it's almost like a wake-up call. Like, wait a minute, there is more than just lights out and that's it.
Yeah. To have this whole life and then just for it to be gone, that would be terrible to me.
That's what I keep saying. It doesn't make sense. Eternal sleep does not make sense.
No, it doesn't. And several years ago, and not a lot of people know this. Back in 2013-ish, it's probably 2013. It was about a year or so after my mom passed away, give or take. It might have been around the time frame. My wife and I were just starting to date, and going through that with my mom obviously sucked, and it helped me a little bit, knowing, okay, when my mom passed away, I was doing this for about 5-6 years at this point. Gone to a lot of places, had a lot of experiences. And again, if you know the story about why I do this, she was the reason why. So when I say my mom was literally, and I don't mean this in any figurative way at all, was in the hospital on her deathbed and said, why aren't you going on your investigation form?
Oh my goodness.
And I say, what do you mean? Again, at this point, she was very lucid. She knew what was going on. She knew that she could literally go any day, at any moment. And basically, she was just on comfort care at this And I said, well, no, I'm not leaving your side. I'm not going, And she's like, you have to go. And I said, well, why? And she's like, because you need to come back tomorrow and tell me all about it. So I went.
Oh
Against my better judgment, I went because I was told to. And I did. We went. It was at Fort Ontario, and it was a great night. We had a lot of good stuff happen. I think that might have been the night that actually, Rob, you were there. And, excuse me, I was able to come back and tell her all about it. Now, fast forward a few years, my now daughter, who's going to be 7 in July, was crawling age, so 1 maybe. At the time, I was diagnosed diabetic for about a year. Oh, God, no, probably 2 or 3 years at this point. I was not very well controlling it. Ended up getting very sick. Thought that it was a good idea to go on a crash diet and alter my diet. While not, and I didn't know this, but truth be told, I was actually taking a pill that they should have taken me off when I went on insulin, but they never did. So I just kept taking it, and it just made things worse. But long story short, I ended up in the hospital, and for about 4 days, I was in ICU, and they were literally within minutes of just intubating me, putting a tube down my throat, and putting me basically into a medically induced coma until everything worked out. And it kind of, I wasn't, and I don't mean this in a bad way, so I really don't want anybody to take it the wrong way. I literally was laying there in bed, completely out of it. I don't remember a lot at this point. I do remember when they put the catheter in.
Oh, awesome.
That I remember very vividly. But, I was in the ER for 24 hours, so I couldn't even see my daughter, couldn't even see my baby at the time. Sue, who at the time worked in the group with us, she was the second we worked with, and was a good friend of ours, brought my wife and kid up. I believe my kid was there. I couldn't see her, so I'm not really sure. But I was only allowed to have one person in the room with them. So my wife would come in, and of course she was upset. Mm-hmm. I did not look the greatest. And yes, my hair was really messed up.
I bet it
was. Obviously she's going to try to be strong, because if I see her upset, then it's just going to be upset when I get that. She left. Sue came in, and I don't know why, but when I got talking with Sue for a minute, again, I was kind of in and out of it. I remember looking at Sue. Honestly, at this point, I thought I was going to die. I was in so much pain that I couldn't breathe. Like, they thought I was going to go into cardiac arrest. Like, it was a big thing. I couldn't. I was just shallow breathing constantly, and it just hurt. Everything hurt. I could not push my chest out far enough to get a full breath. And I remember I looked at Sue, and I said, "I'm not afraid of dying, because I know there's more than this life. But I'm afraid of leaving Alicia, my wife, and the baby. That's what I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of going."
That's what I'm afraid.
And I think that, honestly, in all honesty, I wanted to believe that my mom was with me as well. The one thing that I kind of hold on to is anytime I have surgery, or anytime I have anything that I have to go under for, I always in the back of my mind be like, yeah, I'm going to be fine, my mom's there. I always think that. I don't know if she might just be sitting there laughing at me. I don't know. But in my mind, I have her there. But I think it's the comfort of knowing that not only when we go to somebody's house and we help them, and whether we prove that it's haunted or not haunted, or we find their child or their husband or their wife, or whoever it might be, we help them. But it also, I think, helps us too. Because at the end of the day, it helps solidify, yes, there's 100% more to this world. Mm-hmm. It's not just us. It just doesn't make sense that it is. So I'm sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent there.
That's okay. Wow, that's frightening to be that ill.
Yeah.
My goodness. That's my fear. Is I don't want to miss out on raising my kids. That's the one. I don't want to leave them. Mm-hmm. And
I don't want to miss out. I was just talking. We had gotten brunch after going out last weekend. We were sitting at breakfast, and one of my friends had said, you never know when it's going to be your last day. And I sat there and I was like, well, I don't want today to be my last day. He was like, why? I said, I'm terrified of dying. And he said, really? And I said, yeah, well, like, it's not that I'm scared to die necessarily, because everybody's going to do it at some point, and I know that. And I truthfully believe that there's more for me to experience. But, like, I explain it as I have such bad fear of missing out on my life in general.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I want to be here tomorrow because I want to know what's going to happen. So I feel like I'm going to be on my deathbed, and I'm just going to lay there and be like, man, really wish I was going to know what happened tomorrow.
I mean, I honestly, like, my mom, and I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in the medical field, but from what I'm told, my mom had diabetes, she had heart problems. Truth be told, she probably, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but she's lucky to have been alive. She, in 96, I believe, she had triple bypass surgery, which back then was a huge deal compared to now. Mm-hmm. Now they do it with little tiny incisions and
robots.
Yeah, it's all robots.
Yeah.
Back then they cut this giant vein out of your full length of your leg, and they break open your chest bone. Big deal. She only had like a 25% chance of living for the surgery, but she ended up living for another like 20 years. So yeah, it's great. Over time, again, I think the diabetes, the heart, and then finally she had kidney failure. So that's pretty much what did her in. But the weird thing is she outlived longer than all the doctors were like, oh no, kidney failure, no kidney function. Unfortunately, she'll die within, I think it was like they said, a few days. Mm-hmm. Nah, she lived for like 2 weeks. Like, she just was not going. And then literally it finally took, I want to say it was just her and I in her room. And I'm not saying I did it, but I'm saying I pretty much told her. I said, I know you're worried about Dad. My dad is very old school, where my mom raised the kids, she worked part-time, my dad worked every day forever, and he supplied everything. Like, he worked, she did the bills, and he worked, like nonstop for 30-something years. He never went a day without my mom. You know what I mean? And I think she was more worried for him. Like, how is he going to survive? Mm-hmm. Like, if anybody was going to die from a broken heart, it should have been him. Mm-hmm. And it really took me sitting there talking with her, telling her, listen, Mom. And she agreed with me. And the nice thing about my mom is I never had to sugarcoat anything. Nothing whatsoever. And I flat out told her, I said, listen, I know you've seen all these people in the last couple weeks. Everybody's coming up to visit you. You know as well as I do, none of them are going to come back. Because that's the reality. Mm-hmm. I think every family sees that in one way or another. And I said, but don't worry about it. I'm going to be there. I will make sure Dad's fine. I will make sure he's taken care of. You don't have to fight anymore. Mm-hmm. And then I think like maybe 2 days later, they brought her home. They let her come home, hospice, put the hospital bed in the house and everything downstairs. And literally, I was there when they brought her in. Went in, talked to her for a few minutes. I had to go home because I had the baby and stuff, and we had to go home. And I gave her a kiss, and I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And she said, okay. And I was like, I'll swing by when I get out of work at like 2:30. I used to work till 2. And then I was going to swing by, and the next day I get a phone call at work from my brother that she passed away in the middle of the night. Mm. So she literally waited until she got home. Yeah. Like, she did not want to die at the hospital. And I have no doubt that if we brought her home a week before, she probably would have went. She just didn't want to die at the hospital. She wanted to die at home, familiar. Mm-hmm. And, and it's really weird because every once in a while I will still walk into my dad's living room. And for that split second, I see the hospital bed because it was just there, And then obviously it's gone. But, it's not like I don't think I see it, but the memory floods back. But I think it is. I think it's comforting. At least I think. Maybe I'm just weird. That knowing that there's more out there. Absolutely. So to have somebody, and honestly, I don't know how you do it. Like sometimes I think I sit back and I'm like, I don't know if I could handle being able to see it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. As much
it's
as
not as scary as it's not like it's on TV. I don't see them like I'm looking at you. Depends actually. The first time was like I was looking at you, but he was translucent. I can see them in my mind's eye, like in my head, and I project it out. So I can see. So when I draw spirit art, they're telling me what to draw, and I'm just drawing it. I don't know how to explain it. I'm just asking, well, should I draw the line down here? And and it just shows up on the paper. I really don't know how to explain that part. But when they're here, it's more like I can see them. Like, for instance, there's a gentleman that he's in like Civil War gear or something, or some sort of soldier outfit. He's marching, and he's been standing in this corner, marching. I don't know what this
My
is about.
corner?
Yes.
Oh. Sorry. I put the pieces together. I was like, oh my god.
So
did she just give me an example?
No. I'm not just giving. So those hats they used to wear in the Civil War that were like a little bit higher.
It's like a box that has a
yes.
little rim. Yeah, I have one.
Okay, so that person's been like there, not saying anything, with like a musket rifle. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And they, so I forgot where I was going with this, but
Sorry.
Yes,
whether it's scary or not.
That's how I see it. That's what I was saying.
And I know we're going to take a quick break for our new segment here in a second, but you just made me think of something. Is there a difference, like for psychic wise?
So I call myself a medium, not necessarily.
Okay, medium. Sorry. So she's yelling at me already. So I did warn her I was going to use the wrong words.
It's okay.
So
you say her name
from the mediumship side.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there a difference, like there is for us, between hauntings? Like by hauntings, I mean spirit activity. So either we have intelligent haunting, where a spirit will interact with us. Mm-hmm. So like for you, they'll tell you what they want you to write down, or what they want you to say. But we also have what we would consider like a residual type haunting.
Yeah.
So when somebody says Civil War soldier marching, sometimes to us that pops right into our head. It's probably a residual type haunting where they don't really know what year it is, what day of the week it is. They're not here to interact with us. It's an imprint of energy and time. Mm-hmm. Do you have the same things?
Do you mean during an investigation or just in general?
Like in general, like if you do a reading, for example, can you tell the difference, but is there a difference?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between a residual haunting and actual intelligent haunting for you?
So for me, it's not necessarily a haunting. So this gentleman right here is showing up because he's obviously a member of someone's family. Could be kind of a couple generations back. So they come out when a medium is around, right? So when I come see you, whoever belongs to you can potentially show up here, right?
So there's not a ghost in the house.
No. For me, they're always intelligent. Like I'm having a conversation with them, but they'll show me a memory that is not a verbal thing, right? So if a spirit's talking, they just show me memories. Then I can't interact with the memory. I can interact with them, but not the memory that they're showing me. And sometimes I have to differentiate if it's a memory that they're trying to show me or something else. But it's never not intelligent to me. Like I can always talk, conversate with them.
It's always relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
So we're going to take a quick break from our conversation tonight, and we're going to start our new segment every week. We're going to take a small break, and we're going to have a guest, or Olivia, or myself, or Mike, or whoever just happens to be here. We'll bring a picture, an audio clip, a video. It can be from any time frame. It can be from any media source, whatever. And we're going to share it. We're going to look at it, and we'll talk about it. We'll critique it like we normally do, our evidence, and we will decide whether we think it's paranormal or not. So tonight, I asked our guest to bring something. So we're going to show you, I think it's a picture. Mm-hmm. So we're going to show it real quick here.
Ta-da.
I'm going to expand my video a little bit. Sorry.
I fixed it.
I've got to be honest. Where are we looking?
Well, if I tell you.
I mean, I think I see something, but I don't. Okay, maybe not. Maybe there's. How far do we have to zoom in? Let's put it.
No,
that way.
not very far. The trees are what you're looking at.
The two big trees.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, I see a couple different things. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess.
Are you gonna say it before anybody else guesses?
Well, we're supposed to be critiquing.
Oh, are we? Oh, okay.
All right. Does anybody who's watching see anything?
I thought it was like show and tell kind of thing, but like let them. Okay.
I mean, we could just mute it and then. Okay, I'm not waiting. So I'm guessing. Again, I could be wrong because I see maybe two different things here. In the black one, and the darker tree, I guess you could call it. It kind of looks like something that I don't have my mouse. I can't move my mouse, but it looks almost like. Let me see here.
I just want to know if you're looking at the same thing.
Well, I see two different things.
They're not going to see my mouse.
I know. I don't. I'm asking her.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's like a head right here, and almost like a chest with an arm and a waist. I kind of see that face right there. Mm-hmm. But also, if you take a step back and look, I see a big eye, a nose, and a mouth, and a face right there. So I don't know if that's what you want us to look at.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So feel free to.
Well, that's the area.
Okay. That I don't know. I don't know. You'll have to tell us. I give up.
Happily.
I give up. I'm glad people are watching this. Let me see if anybody made a comment on it. Somebody wrote shadow in the tree, skull in the tree, face on the tree, face in tree. Everybody's kind of zeroed in on that tree.
Okay, well, because that makes sense. So do you want me to tell you or no?
Sure.
Okay. So can I tell the story behind the picture?
You can tell us it all.
Okay. So this was back right after they opened up stuff for the pandemic. No, actually, I'm sorry. We could only do certain things. I took my kids to this beach because I wanted to be able to swim and there weren't a lot of people around. This is in Mexico Point State Park, right? I did not know anything about this location, nothing. So we went to the beach, and the beach is just rocks, so you can't swim there. It's all these big giant stones. And when you go into this beach, there's these beautiful, like, brick fireplaces, kind of, that used to be there. And it's just remnants of them. So we went down this trail. It's a little tiny bridge. You go over this bridge. And as I'm walking, this tree catches my eye. And I see a little girl standing there. And she's got a little white dress on. And she's playing. And I think the other kids see this because I got my kids with me. And I go, do you guys see that? And they're like, see what? And I said, okay, obviously you're not seeing it. So I snapped a photo of it. And so it would be, she was standing right in here. Okay, right where you guys were. Okay. She was standing right in there. She had a little pretty little dress on. Okay, this would have been from like 1900s, something like that. I still don't know anything about this location. So I took the picture, and when I look at photos, I can see a spirit that's in the photo if the spirit is present. So I go home, and I look up the location to where we went. So apparently, this is called Casey's Cottage at Mexico Point State Park. Mm-hmm. And
it's an active location.
Yes. Okay. So this is apparently, there was a young girl who passed away there, and she was buried under a tree. And people say they often see her playing. And my mind was blown. I was like, "Are you serious? Like, are you kidding me?" So that is what that picture is.
Wow.
I can kind of see like almost like a white on the left of the tree.
Yeah, well, she was mainly in the middle, but she was kind of going back and forth, like playing with us, but nobody else could see her.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We got a lot of photos you should look at and tell me if there's something there.
If you go to the website, it says sightings of a young girl standing near a tree under which she was buried. So, yeah.
I think it's cool that you didn't even know that story.
Nope.
I was going to say that must be
idea.
cool to have that confirmation yourself. After.
It is, but in the moment, it's like, did I just see that? I'm going to take a photo of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to look up something really quick because I just want to. I have a picture that I've been questioning for years.
Okay.
I believe there's something there.
Okay.
I just got to get to it really quick. I got to find it. Sorry.
No, have you guys been here yet?
No, we've talked about going.
You gotta take me if you
I've tried reaching out I'm not. The problem is I'm not 100% sure who to even reach out to. Like who owns it, if that makes sense, or.
We've got a Diane. Diane, that's her name. That's who you got to contact. No, Sheila. Sorry, for paranormal investigation, Sheila.
I knew I should have showed you this earlier. Sorry. Just trying to find it.
Okay.
Do I have a break to stuff in my fruit? I'm gonna anyways. Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Well, I forgot for a moment that I do. I do.
I mean, we got so many cool photos, and I'm just trying to find one particular one, and I don't know how I'm going to find it tonight, or within a couple minutes that we're still live, and I'm trying to. I will say, this isn't the picture, but this is one of the coolest pictures that I've ever taken.
Oh wow.
So,
That
I know you guys can't see it, I'm sorry. I don't know if that helps. That wasn't the one,
You
but
should post that on the page.
it's on there somewhere. I didn't expect you to say that about pictures, so I wasn't ready for it. Basically, we did a few years ago. We did a location, and one of the claims is the maid it's a museum. It's close by. It's not in Auburn,
Mm-hmm.
but one of the maids there back in the day developed Alzheimer's and what we would call that now, dementia. And back then, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like Willard was still the psychiatric center.
Oh no, I don't know.
So Willard. It's now called New York State Drug Treatment Facility. It's on the lake of Seneca Lake, I believe, and it's in Willard, New York.
Mm-hmm.
But it used to be a huge psychiatric hospital, like compounds. Like there's buildings everywhere, right? If you go by there now, some of the buildings are still actively being used by the state prison. They have like the big fences up around them, but a lot of the old brick buildings are all falling down. The actual original, and they have fences up around them, so you can't obviously go in there. And across the road from Willard is the old cemetery, the Potter Cemetery. Okay. And unfortunately, years of one guy taking care of everybody that died was also a patient that he died. Mm-hmm. So nobody took care of him anymore with the graves. Oh. So they just threw all the grave markers and mowed over, and that was it. So now, this was a few years ago. Now, since then, this new historical society has come up, and now they are actually actively remarking all the graves.
Oh, wow, that's awesome.
But the reason I say this is because we were at this this museum investigating, and one of the claims is the years later, the poor maid developed an issue. The owners took her and brought her to Willard. Because what else do you do with somebody? Yeah. You're talking back in the day. What else? You didn't have treatment like you do now. So they left her there. Later that night, they went upstairs and she was in her room. Now you can't walk.
Yeah.
You can, but it's probably about a 20 minute drive by car. So now you're talking back in the day when there wasn't roads.
Yeah.
The owner was like, okay, well, we'll let you stay tonight, and we'll leave you till tomorrow, and then we'll take you back, basically. Mm-hmm. And when he went up there the next morning, she wasn't in there, and they got notified from Willard that she passed away. Mm-hmm. So they say she's up there. So while we were investigating, we were up in that area, and I was in her room, and I decided to take photos. And this was not with a digital. This was with a regular digital camera, just doing a click, 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 and I just wanted a big circle. And when I got out to the hallway, they were saying that she likes to hide around the corner if we're in her room because she doesn't like us in there. Well, your cat's making a weird noise. When you go out the doorway, there's a hall, and there's a stairwell that goes down, and a closet. Now that's a museum, they took that closet and they put stuff in there and they put plexiglass in front of it. Mm. In the photo I took, it looks like a woman reflecting off the plastic.
You can't find that photo?
I have it. No.
Okay.
I was just gonna show it to you today. Literally, this is what Willard looks like now.
Okay. Where's
But
that at again?
it's right in Willard, New York,
Oh.
not far. But I always said I was a woman. You can actually, to me, you can make out the face. You can make out her white outfit like a maid would wear,
Yeah.
and then it stops.
Does she have like a little maid hat on?
She might. I'm gonna find the photo. You guys talk.
On the spot again.
I really want to find this photo. Sorry, I gotta find this photo.
No, I was just thinking to myself, like, the cats have never been so active in here, especially when we're live. It is so weird.
I love their little bells, so that doesn't scare you at night. No.
No, because I know it's Leo's the only one with the bell, so I know that it's him. And generally, he's normally in my bed all night, anyways.
So for the sake of the show, you guys, I don't know, maybe I'll hold this up to the camera when we're done. Well, this is the picture.
Oh, whoa.
Now, if I zoom
I
in,
see her. Yeah.
you can make out the facial features, the dress, and the plexiglass.
Yeah.
I believe her name was Mary, if I remember correctly.
I see her hair on her face.
You can almost see her better if you zoom.
Why can I was going to say, why can I see it when I can't really see?
See how I zoomed out?
Yeah, okay.
Now, I didn't tell you the story. So, one of the last times, I didn't know I took this photo. We were there investigating, so we were investigating. And you know Tuna.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's his nickname. His name was Dan. He used to investigate with us. And he was up there on the third floor with another investigator. I was downstairs. We had another guy with us that night who was a psychic medium. And he started... I remember I'm sitting at this dining room table with them, and I'm on the walkie, and I'm talking to them upstairs. And I'm like, hey, where are you guys? Oh, we're on the third floor, down the hall from Mary's room. And the third floor was like an L-shaped. Like, it was two halls that connected in the middle, and that was it. And the staircase and the staircase. They were right in the middle of that L. And Steve was a psychic that was with us. And he closes his eyes, and I don't know if he's listening, or I don't know what the technical term is, but he looks at me, but his eyes are closed, and he goes, what's Dan doing? And I'm like, I don't know. It's like, Dan, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm trying to get Mary to come out. And I'm like, what the hell are you saying? He's like, oh, don't worry about it. So Steve was like, no, he's making her mad. He's like, she's going to come out. And I'm like, I had to walk in. He's like, tell him to stop. I'm like, okay, she's gonna come out? He goes, yeah. I took my finger off the button. Hey, he said she's gonna come out. I never told him, because I wanted her to come out.
Oh.
Kind of a dick move. But finally, Steve's like, you gotta tell him to stop whatever he's doing. She's gonna be bad. So I get on the radio. I'm like, Dan, I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. Steve said Mary's gonna come out, and he goes, okay. So then we stop. Well, not even maybe 60 seconds later, we hear boom, 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 boom. Dan's not a small guy. The guy he was with wasn't a small guy. But they come down those stairs so damn fast, sweat is just profusely pouring. And I'm looking at him, I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? And Dan stopped. He looked right at Steve. He's like, how did you know? How did you know? Like he was so... Dan was a very big stepper. And he was very beside himself. And then he goes, Steve's trying to explain to him whatever. And I'm like, well, what happened? And he goes, dude, you told me to stop. I had it. We kept seeing like a shadow poking out from her room. Mm-hmm. So it would have been like where that plexiglass is, coming this way. And he goes, yeah. So I had Sean behind him, and I was like, dude, get the camera ready and take a photo. So Sean takes the camera and he does one of these, like over Dan's shoulder. Now, Dan's 6 foot something. Sean's not that tall, so I can just picture him like this. And then he goes, Dan goes, Mary, I don't believe you're down there. If you're down there, come out here and get me.
Oh, no.
He goes, all of a sudden, and I wish I saw this. I get teary-eyed just thinking about it. But he said the only way to describe it, maybe you could attest if this is true, he said a black mass come out of the room, like developed the whole end of the hall, and it came at him. But when it came at him, it wasn't like a fluid motion.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the shutter of a camera, and every time it would click, it was getting closer and closer and closer and closer, and then it was like up in his face.
Yeah.
And he doesn't remember any facial anything, and he said it got so close that his first thought was, is he cocked his freaking arm back because he was going to throw, because it was the fight or flight mode.
Yeah.
That was it. He was going to throw a punch at something, and poor Sean got knocked down because he just had the elbow come back and hit him. But it just remembering that came out of that same room where that picture was taken.
Don't provoke the spirits. Why are we doing that?
I don't know. Dan, he's not with us anymore, but he always rode the line of, okay, I think you're doing a little too much.
Because he wanted validation. But
Yeah, I think it was because he just didn't believe, so he was willing to say or do almost anything to get it to come out, which we don't do.
Oh, yeah.
We don't do that.
No,
Now,
thank you.
that being said, we have gone places before, like, where if they say, hey, the male spirit picks on the girls, or something like that, I might go down there and I might be a little bit more forceful with that spirit, because it's like, well, don't pick on the girls, come pick on me, you know? I've done that before, but I've never come right out and said, you know...
Or he sends the girls in.
Or I just send the girls in, hey, see if this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Figure it out. Something might happen. Hey, you got to get the evidence.
It's a real comforting feeling.
Yeah. We're just going to use you as bait.
Mm-hmm.
You want the experience, right?
I've gotten my experience. I have my experiences.
Oh, so you're done?
I didn't say
no more.
I didn't
No
say I
more
was
for me.
done. It's just maybe sometimes you could just not tell me when you're like
Just
pushing me
do
in a
it.
situation.
Just be like, oh, hey, I'm not going to warn you. I'm just going to tell you to go.
Well, I mean, yeah, I kind of am. Because then I'm expecting it.
So you have to look forward to? But
I
see,
mean-
I can't do that to her, though, because she'd already know.
Yeah.
Like, I can't go up to her and be like, this room's fine. You know? Because, yeah. If anything, I got to tell her, don't tell her.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know when you do the provoking, you're
No.
bringing in the lower level spirits that you don't necessarily.
Yeah. No, she
know.
means more or less. You know, we've gone to places where, like Rolling Hills, for example. I don't say all people, but some people believe that there's like a rapist in the basement spirit. I don't think that's true. I think that's total bullshit. However, if we went to a place like that and it said, oh, hey, they liked, skinny guys with black hair, and if John was still in the group with us, Westcott, I'd be like, hey, John, guess where you're going? Just because we're trying to get that with, and my goal is, you know, and it'd be no different if it was a female spirit that liked women. Then I would say, okay, Olivia and Amy, can you guys go in there for a while? And without even having to provoke, just you being in there might get a reaction.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. When we did the Wayne County Jail, and we had the girls go into the men's cells, you're not allowed to be in there. You're not supposed to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
You sometimes will get a reaction because you're not supposed to be in there. And I guess that's where you said you got, I think, your first experience was there.
I was touched, and I got sick.
Oh, downstairs.
And you got what?
I got sick. I had to go upstairs.
Oh wow.
And she wasn't even in the cells. She was down where they used to cook the food for the inmates.
I'm really sensitive with my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as soon as I can sense energy, especially if it's really present, really strong, I get so worked up, and I have to leave.
Yeah.
I don't think I went back downstairs that night.
So, I would say we've been over an hour now. Tonight's been great. Doesn't really feel like it's been an hour, but I'm sure we can sit here and keep doing this for a lot longer. So, I'm sure we will definitely have you back on.
Yes, of course.
But in the meantime, I know we didn't get to do those. We get to play those. Sorry.
All right, I'll be here again.
But I think we'll get some more investigations probably under our belts, and then just to kind of give us more to talk about and maybe get your thoughts and feelings on things that you like that we do, maybe the things you think that, maybe we should try this, or whatever. It'll just be a lot more fun to do that. And other than that, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, of course.
Hope we didn't scare you off.
No.
Sorry about her laugh. Wow.
I love her laugh.
Thank
Leave
you.
her alone.
If anybody else, if everybody else is good, no other questions, better start typing fast. As always, I'm going to post these videos again on our YouTube page. You can always go back and check them out on there, as well as our Facebook page. If you haven't already, please share with all your friends. Have them like our page. If you haven't yet, you should do it too.
Okay, yeah.
You
I
can
didn't know there was a YouTube page. I got to go on that.
No, but you can literally go to our Facebook page and just click share and click all and send it to all your friends. And if they don't follow us, they don't. But hey, we'll appreciate it if they do. Don't forget, you have one more week to submit your idea for the web show name. If we pick it, you'll come back and be on the show with us. Maybe we can work it out a night that you're here. Maybe and have a big fun conversation too. So it'll just be more fun. Other than that, keep going. We got all kinds of shows coming up. The next 2 weeks or 3 weeks are already booked. I believe Amy is coming back next week for the Haunted History Night, so she'll be here.
Cool.
I'll be here. Olivia will be here, and she will go in more depth about the history of paranormal investigating and stuff like that. A lot more than we did during the Paranormal 101. And then after that, we have Iron Island Museum and Dunkirk Lighthouse. So we are, we're moving quite along. And again, spoiler alert, we talked with Val over the weekend, and Val's the owner of Greylock. We went and had our winner's night with the raffle winners from our event. So we got to take them through the building and do a fun investigation with them. It was a lot of fun. Val and I did speak a lot about this year's events, and we are going to be changing it up a little bit this year. It's not going to be just a dinner. We're talking about possibly getting you guys to do some investigating too while you're there. So it's still in the works. We don't have all the details yet, but it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to try to mix it up a little bit and maybe do like a buffet dinner instead of an order menu dinner, just to make things a little easier. And ticket sales will be going on sale, I think, earlier this year. So we're talking end of August, maybe early September, because we tend to sell out very quickly. We will have Val on the show. We are going to have a 1 or 2 night episode with Val, probably one. The fun thing is we're going to do it on location at the Greylock. So that'll be a fun night. But that's not going to be till the fall, but just kind of wanted to throw that out there. But other than that, you guys have a good night, and we will see you next Tuesday. Thank you.